Sharks are rad. It's a scientific fact. According to a study that I just made up, 99% of scientists and 10 out of 10 dentists agree that sharks are cool as hell. The Star Wars universe is no stranger to underwater creatures, as well including sentient sharks. This is our week of sharks! I think Shark Week might be trademarked, but I don't feel like finding out how litigious Discovery is the hard way.
Welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we are twin brothers here to bring you what's new in nerddom and give colorful commentary on our favorite subjects. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome to episode 120, everybody. 120, that's awesome. Today's recording date is July 17th, and this episode will be released on Monday, July 21st. Let's journey to a galaxy far, far away.
For our listeners who want to watch along as well, we are heavily referencing Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3, so right at the beginning of Season 4. And we're also going to be referencing Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars shorts from the early aughts. That is the early 2000s. Season 4 absolutely cooked. The Battle of Mon Calamari isn't even the highlight of this arc. Honestly, it's not even in the top 3, and it's still amazing. It includes the Battle of Umbara, which is one of the best arcs in all of Clone Wars, and it's up there with the Battle of Mandalore, and the season concludes with a 4-episode arc that starts with the invasion of Dathomir and ends with the return of Maul. Goated. Season 4, one of the best.
Our discussion this week has to do with the Battle of Mon Calamari and the most common sentient aquatic species in Star Wars, the Mon Cal. And a special species highlighted in this week's episode, the Carcharodons. Being that this is Shark Week, or as close as what we want to call without getting sued, we want to dive into the deep waters where these sentient monsters swim. The Carcharodons gain their namesake from the great white shark, the genus of which is, well, Carcharodon, but spelled with C's, not K's. In Star Wars, it's spelled with a K. Each one of these races are considered humanoid amphibians. Humanoid because they can walk upright, otherwise known as bipedal. Interestingly enough, in some of the old Rogue Squadron characters, some of the alien species are referred to as humanoid or alien or non-human, which ticks some of the other races off because that sort of language runs on the underlying assumption that to be human is normal. I do think humans are the most prevalent species in Star Wars, but that's more due to the costumes being expensive and time-consuming to create on set rather than just humans being the most populous species in Star Wars. Amphibian is an interesting classification here because it means they land somewhere between fish and land dwellers. Star Wars uses this definition as any species that can breathe underwater and on land.
Are you looking for your next caffeine fix? Look no further than this week's sponsor, Javi. Javi wants to set you up with your next cup of coffee with their signature coffee concentrate. Enjoyed hot or cold, this coffee concentrate can be mixed with your choice of water, milk, or milk alternative and sweetened to the exact levels you want. Javi is just that, coffee concentrate. No cream, no sugar. You want a cup of coffee exactly the way you want it? Javi is for you. Most coffee manufacturers will include more sweetener than is sometimes necessary, not for taste, but to preserve their coffee on store shelves. Javi nixes the sugar and lives in your fridge ready to use. Since it's summer, it's iced coffee season, and Javi is perfect for your first, second, and let's be honest, your third cup of the day. Use our code listed below for a discount on your next order and get your coffee order today. My favorite concentrate has been the mocha, and we look forward to hearing which flavor you find the most enjoyable. That's code TALKABOUT T97755 used at checkout. That's TALKABOUT T97755 entered at checkout for a discount on your entire order and directly supports the podcast. Thank you.
Back from the ads. We're going to talk about the Carcharodons because, we like sharks and stuff. Not the Space Marine chapter. If you guys love our stuff on Warhammer, we will be talking about the Carcharodons chapter at a future date, but not today. So, albeit the different spelling, these shark creatures still seem to leave a red wake wherever they choose to go. I see what you did there, the writing brother. That was nice. That was real nice. Riff Tamsin.
I'm so smart.
Riff Tamsin, one of the more brutal commanders of the Clone Wars, is our focal character and spokesperson from the Separatists. Bloodthirsty, brutal, and cunning, Tamsin was deployed by Dooku himself to lead the Quarren Revolt. This was very typical of the conflicts of the Clone Wars. While the Republic is massively large and its army just as large, full-scale galactic war is taxing. Most of the time, the Separatists would send agitators to see if they could bring planets into their fold without the need of an invasion. Then, once these planets were convinced, or sometimes threatened, to leave the Republic, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or the CIS, would leave a garrison, detachment, or legion of droids on the new member state depending on its strategic value.
Having an army made entirely out of droids gave the Separatists a huge advantage. Given their massive infrastructure to create such droids, they could create near limitless legions to throw at the Republic as they saw fit. Without the intervention of Sidious and the execution of the Jedi, the Republic would have lost the war. I mean, they essentially did, but it was really only a matter of time. First off, Riff Tamson, he's a straight-up shark, and he shares the massive jaws with these multiple rows of knife-like teeth similar to their Terran cousins. We can only assume that just like the sharks in our ocean, the Carcharodons regenerate their teeth to keep them as sharp as possible. Their adaptation from less than sentient hunters of the sea to bipedal amphibians has not diminished their hunting prowess. Second, Tamson is incredibly resilient. He is able, under his own power, to breach the Mon Cal transportation tubes with just his head. He's also able to execute Mon Cala troops with just his mouth and swim just as fast, if not faster, than scuba troopers and Jedi with the aid of their underwater vehicles.
To add to the brutality, at the end of this arc, we see his decapitated head float through the water after Prince Lee Char sticks him with a knife bomb. A few notes here, if I may. I actually cannot believe that they showed this, but Tamson stabs like 5 or 6 Quarren clones and Gungans and Mon Cals, and we see them explode into into clouds of bubbles and ink. It's not gory in the sense that there's blood, rather there's viscera, and it's just shown to be really dark here, which kind of indicates the ink sacs were exploded from the Quarren. The knife bombs he used, those have got to be some sort of that's got to be a war crime, right? Against some sort of
war crime.
interstellar Geneva convention, or I don't know, a planet that's similar to Geneva. You can't just stab somebody with a barbed knife grenade and get away with it. That's wild. Whew. This was a kid's show.
It's a kid's show, 100%. I watched it and I thought, what the heck just happened? Insane. Couldn't believe it. Like, they're like, oh, we're not going to show the blood, so it's not TV-14. But it's like, oh my gosh, but they were just there a second ago, and now they're gone. All that being said, the Carcharodons are terrifying. The Mon Cal, who they were attempting to subjugate, are first introduced to us in the form of Admiral Akbar and his crew aboard the rebel flagship Home One. That is when we, as an audience, were introduced to the Mon Calamari. Calamari, because they're squid people, real creative. They are bipedal amphibious species from the planet of Mon Cala. Or is it just Mon Cal? The planet is Mon Cala.
The people are the Mon Calamari.
Nailed it. In Legends, in Tartakovsky's Clone Wars micro-series, the Mon Cal ride in on their mounts. The Mon Cal ride in on their mounts, the fearsome and swift Keel Kana. They're literally giant eels. They literally have underwater knights and sport blaster lances and shields made from these like titanic sea crabs. These are literally called the Mon Calamari Knights, and they are neat. Just to make our audience feel a little bit older, this originally aired, I can't believe this originally aired in November 2003, 22 years ago this fall.
We were 8 years old when that came out, so I'm going to slam some Advil while you tell us a little bit more about the Clone Wars.
It's really interesting. A lot of the rifles that they use in these underwater sieges are in more of a long rifle type configuration because they're actually more hydrodynamic than a normal blaster rifle. It's actually unclear if most blasters are waterproof. We actually never see someone fall into water and then try to fire their blaster. We know lightsabers are watertight, so are blasters? Probably not.
Isn't the thought that, like, if a blaster works in a vacuum, it should work underwater?
No, because the vacuum of space does not short out any internal components.
Well, that just shows you that I know nothing, guys. Let's talk about the squid people. All right, the Quarren. I'm not being derogatory here, but they are also residents of the planet Mon Cala. Yeah, Mon Cala. We just looked that up. Sorry, totally spaced. I was like, oh god, I did it again. Now, these Quarren are the separatist representatives on this planet. Is Squidheads derogatory? I don't know either. Maybe I'm just offending the entire race here. That's fine. They are considered to be equal residents of the planet. It's very offensive.
Our apology video will be coming out right after this.
To the Quarren people, I'm so sorry. I did not mean...
No Trump impressions on the show.
To the Quarren people, my pants.
The Quarren people, they're great. I've always said that they're great. They're not actually that hardworking, but I love their food.
Wow, you were breaking out the, like, pre-warlord stuff. Love that. Okay. Back to fictional, because if you want more, like, political commentary, I'm looking at you right in the eyes right now, viewer. First of all, I love you. Second of all, join us on Patreon, support the podcast, and go catch more of our political commentary where we talk about real-world things over on the Patreon pre-episode. Love you. Okay, the Quarren, we're back. Using special separatist military support to gain control of the planet. They basically are like, hey, we have underwater super battle droids, a bunch of really, really cool ships, and we have shark people, so we're going to get right into it. In Tartovsky's Clone Wars, so again, kind of that old 2D style, there is just conflict. They land ships right on the water, and people are just getting right into it, because these episodes are only like 5 to 10 minutes long. But in the Clone, just like in the Clone Wars series, that the new one, there's no diplomacy. It's just a ruse. They had an army ready to go. We can see the Quarren fighting on the front lines against the Mon Calamari. They excrete ink during their charge, creating natural camouflage, and a few times we see them explode. They leave behind a mess of ink and viscera, thanks to Rick Tampson, even in the more recent Clone Wars as well. Ink everywhere. Gross.
The old Clone Wars microseries does not feature the Carcharodons. That was a change that is only with the new Clone Wars, and I loved it because sharks are terrifying, and it makes the conflict so much more interesting. So much more interesting. The microseries is considered vintage Star Wars. So you guys aren't going to believe. So the Battle of Mon Calamari, that's not the planet name. Gosh dang it. The Battle of Mon Cala. The Carcharodons come as representatives of the Separatists to help the Quarrens overthrow the Mon Calamarians.
He'll get there, folks.
The Mon Calamari. Really, wow, I'm having a stroke. And then once they're done, the Carcharodons were like, yeah, so we're also going to enslave the Quarren because we have... we're not here to bring you into the fold of like a different government because like they're not good people. The Separatists are just like, we're just going to be cartoonishly evil all the time. We're going to enslave literally everybody. The heroes of this battle are none other than the Gungans, residents of Naboo and possible native species of the greatest Sith Lord ever. They even featured their own underwater cities. Gungans are known for being silly billies, annoyances, and generally loathed across the galaxy. They even had a tenuous relationship with the Naboo before working together to push the droid invasion fleet off of their planet and the blockade out of their atmosphere. From there, a Gungan would be seen as an administrative aide to the senator from their homeworld and former child queen, Padme Amidala. May she rest in peace. You'll note that I did not name that Gungan because gosh, he's so annoying.
Yes. All right, then we get into a different species. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Nautilans. The Nautilans are probably one of the least showcased amphibian races in Star Wars, hailing from, now let me see if I can get this on the first try, Glee and Selm. And Selm. These extremophiles were able to survive and thrive in various environments. Their eyes, which appeared to others as large black orbs, give the Nautilans the ability to see even in the darkest depths. Their skin pigment came in many different shades, from green to blue to orange to purple. It's unclear how these different pigments provide different advantages, considering most of Glee and Selm is underwater, but not completely. Most people don't understand that the melanin in human skin has to do with UV resistance, so having different tones like purple, blue, and green, I can't even begin to speculate what that might mean. Alright, let's talk tentacles. Nothing weird? Welcome to Talk About Tentacles. We're talking about our favorite boneless appendages today. Now that we've got you back and you are not frantically skipping to your next podcast episode, nautilins possess many head tendrils that provide their swimmy ladies and gentlemen to detect chemicals in their environment due to them being lined with highly sensitive olfactory sensors. This could also pick up pheromones, and because this is a world of laser swords and violence, we know that they do not grow back when chopped off. Good to know, I guess.
You know, I was really getting bored with all these fish people. Then you started talking about tentacles, and you reeled me right back in. Nautilin society was not as bloodthirsty as, say, I don't know, humans. In fact, they were violence averse, but were not so sheltered that they believed violence wasn't necessary. Remember that knife that Luthen stabbed himself with? That is a nautilin bleeder. What is it? It's essentially a giant piece of sea glass that they cut into a knife. They were brutal when they need to be. Nautilin warriors were known for their ferocity and skill. For when they were called upon to fight, they would fight with everything they had. Coursing through their collective belief system of the Nautilins was the belief in the Great Ocean Spirit, which they believe existed to maintain the balance of nature on Glee and Selm. It would be interesting to see if this was like a manifestation of the Force, or if this was just like an incredibly powerful creature that actively influenced the balance of a planet. We know that in a universe with actual magic and actual gods, i.e. the Mortis gods, and creatures with powerful connection to the Force, like the Bendu, anything is possible. I'm just saying. Big sea monsters are dope and make for great movies. Imagine if the ocean spirit was something like Godzilla, or even the lion turtle from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Insert subtle foreshadowing. Disney needs to make a Star Wars... Disney needs to make a Star Wars movie. Duh. Disney needs to make a Star Wars monster movie.
Also, if we didn't mention earlier, if you're still not sure who the Nautilins are, Kit Fisto.
Kit Fisto, yeah. He's so cool.
Yeah. I'm like, wait
He's kind of shredded.
Tentacles, black eyes,
Abs.
Abs?
High tide.
Oh my god. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the Selkath, because you guys know that here on the podcast, we like to throw everything back to the Old Republic because we're old. Leave us alone.
Back in my day, it was just the Republic.
We said previously that the Nautilins were one of the least highlighted species in Star Wars. The rarest of all are the Selkath, only recently brought back from Legends. There were Legends for a while since they were first introduced in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, but we do see them reappear in the Clone Wars. The Selkath are deeply intertwined with their environment, and therefore have been able to build a massive floating cities with seemingly very little impact on their environment. Maybe we should take notes. You might be asking yourself, why are there so many amphibious species, and why would a species want to be able to breathe both in and out of water? Well, the reasons are many, and over the billions of years of alien evolution, there are always reasons for species to develop the ability to go on land or perhaps breathe air, like whales, dolphins, seals, and many aquatic species here on Earth. They basically just hold their breath for a really long time. Given enough time, I could see different evolutionary tracks teaching species to breathe in both air and water to take advantage of the most amount of food sources and avoid environmental hazards. Speaking of environmental hazards, let's bring it back to today's topic. Andrew, hit us!
So you're probably wondering, like, hey, you guys aren't talking about sharks anymore. I thought this was Shark Week. It was very important for us to talk about all those species because, and it was
we'll get there when we get there.
It's a process, and my mind wanders. Since we're here, wading through the tide pools of Manon, let's address the actual sharks in Star Wars, like the sharks from this mysterious water world. Because before, we were talking about their Carcharodons, who are bipedal sentient amphibians. They're basically member species of the Republic. They vote. They have more advanced society. I don't actually know what it's called when something makes the evolutionary leap from the intelligence of, say, a dolphin to the intelligence of a human. It's probably like depression or something. But we're going to talk about the Phyrexian sharks and a special shark known as the progenitor. The Force works in mysterious ways. The Selkath believe that they are evolutionary descendants of the still living progenitor, and so are the Phyrexian sharks that roam their waters. That's insane.
What a weird family reunion.
That means the progenitor is, what, millions of years old?
That would be the case. That's what they believe, yes.
So, the progenitor, where it lives. Think the Mariana Trench, but on an alien planet. We know shockingly little about our own undersea life, so it's thrilling to see how a much more technologically advanced society like the Selkath, and kind of the Star Wars galaxy as a whole, would have mapped their own oceans. Science fiction cannot really delve into biodiversity. It doesn't really do it that often. What do I mean by that? There's only so much world building that can account for a planet's ecosystem and vast biomes on each of those planets. This is why most planets are distilled into a single super biome for each planet, even though we know this wouldn't be the case. Sharks are incredibly prevalent in our Terran oceans, and given even the smallest amount of biodiversity we see in Star Wars, we can probably assume that most habitable planets with oceans have sharks. From creatures swimming through the hollow core of Naboo to the Phyrexian sharks that could give Jaws a run for its money, to the vast oceans of life on Mon Cala, sharks are everywhere. I believe the quote is, "Life finds a way."
This still begs the question is how could a single ancient shark live so long that multiple species could branch off of it? Experts seem to have settled on the theory that the progenitor, a living dinosaur, was feeding directly off Kolto. If you don't know, Kolto was the predecessor to Bacta that was able to heal most wounds and cure most illnesses, albeit without the effectiveness of Bacta. This theory was given further credence during the Haraketh Station event. Some might even call it a disaster. When the progenitor's territory was invaded, it sent out psychic pulses of energy that drove the Selkath insane, leading to chaos and death on the station. These psychic screams also drove the sharks into a frenzy, so that anyone or anything that came near them were viciously attacked by these beasts. You guys know what's coming up next, right? We're going to talk about Revan again. Yeah. We're going to weasel this guy in wherever we can.
It always comes back to Revan, man.
Absolutely. Okay, so Revan's back on the planet. He's looking for a star map. I forgot what it was called. I was going to call it
and
a
he's
starport.
Feeling hot.
Oh, God. Oh, just walking around with Bastila all the time. I'd be feeling hot, too. What? Okay, so the equipment at Haraketh Station was literally driving the progenitor insane with no end in sight. Donning a deep-sea diving suit, Wevan? Damn.
Oh my god, it's Wevan. Idiot.
I'm just going to gritty my way on out of here. Revan walked.
If you do that, I'll jump.
That's the final straw, folks. He's gone. Okay, so Revan walked across the ocean floor and was openly exposed to sharks. Not like exposing himself, but he was in danger.
Revan's a pervert. You heard it here first, folks.
Perverts.
Fair enough. Oh, I gotta get out of here.
Okay, using a jury-rigged sonic pulse, I promise I'm going to get through this, he was able to keep the sharks at bay, but this was only a temporary measure. Instead, Revan was given a lethal dose of toxin to use on the progenitor in order to save Haraketh Station.
During one of Revan's extravehicular jaunts across the ocean floor, he found what he was looking for, the source of his quest, an ancient star map that would lead him to the Star Forge. This did not distract Revan for super long, and he still had a choice to make. Jedi, being the protectors of light and life and surprising absolutely no one, chose nature over the greedy fingers of the operators of Haraketh Station. Revan, being in his light side era, would not stand for the exploitation of the sea and such an ancient creature, and neither should you. Revan did not use the toxin he was given, and instead destroyed the machinery that was driving the sharks crazy.
Oh, sure, it's cool when Revan does eco-terrorism, but when I do it, I get put on a watch list? Ugh.
What a double standard. Sharks may be scary, but they are critical components to any ecosystem. Revan probably knew this on an instinctual level through the Force, but we have had to learn the slow way. We, as in human beings. We're bad at caring for the environment. We have learned that screwing the food chain through, overfishing, wasteful practices, lack of conservation, pollution, and dangerous fishing methods are bad for the environment. And you know who lives in the environment? We do. We do. Evolution is slow. The environment, therefore, is slow to react to sudden changes, and that's why we should take better care of our planet. Yet we don't. Or at least we're slow to do the right thing. There's actually an excellent documentary, and before you roll your eyes, just hear me out. The Oceans documentary with David Attenborough is amazing. I highly recommend it. It goes through some ghastly facts and figures concerning how we are treating our oceans, but shows certain groups who are driven by science and conservation and are providing solutions that are already having huge impacts on our ocean, reversing decades of damage. For a documentary, it's quite the roller coaster of emotions.
Next thing we wanted to touch on is we wanted to dive back into the battle at Cala with the Mon Calamari. We do get to see some miscellaneous aquatic elements that we would really feel bad if we left out, so let's talk about those. We got to see some Separatist Aqua Droids, a model of the Super Battle Droid that honestly has some pretty cool trim to it. Very nice look, very stylish, super hot right now.
Very demure.
Very demure. Then we see the Hydroid Medusa. It's a giant jellyfish, but it's developed by the Carcharodons. I don't remember if you caught that on the episode, but going back, he was like, I developed this on my planet, or my people did. And I'm like, wow, you people are insane. What kind of wars are you having where this is your mode of warfare? So that's wild.
Okay, for a couple reasons, that makes a lot of sense. For, I think, reasons you're about to go through, because the Carcharodons are just as much concerned about their effectivity as predators as they are scaring the absolute daylights out of their prey.
Do you remember the litany of shows on the Discovery Channel that talked about the box jellyfish off the coast of Australia? Because I do. That's all I could think about. I feel like there were multiple specials talking about all the things in the water that could kill a person. Tons of sharks, box jellyfish, a brainless creature that is so potent with its venom that if a person doesn't get immediate medical attention, they are toast. If they get stung in the water, good chance you might drown. Who knows?
Dead.
There is no way this giant droid, the Hydroid Medusa, is actually practical. It's huge and probably incredibly expensive to produce. Also, he directly references it as a hybrid creature. These Leviathan...
Oh my gosh, it is?
Yes, it's a creature droid.
So it's not a droid.
It's part droid.
Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Is that what they call it in Star Wars? Do they use the term? Because what is Lobot considered? Is he considered a cyborg?
I think so. How many enhancements do you need before you're a cyborg? Looking at you, Darth Vader. All right, so these Leviathans slowly sink to their position in the battlefield and provide incredible amounts of pain to those who get caught in their tentacles. Laser tentacles, trademarked.
Taser tentacle.
Taser tentacles, ball sacks. Ugh. I got distracted by the word tentacles and just my vision went red for some reason. That was so weird. In a battlefield where most of the soldiers can freely move in 3 dimensions, a giant jellyfish seems pretty useless. Yes, it's terrifying, but for the most part, it doesn't have much of an impact on the battle.
This is the exact same strategy as the AT-AT. A 4-legged walker is actually a really stupid idea and is really easy to destroy, as we see most of the AT-ATs get destroyed in any of their appearances in Star Wars. But what they do is they're scary as heck. And that is worth something. It's worth something to the Empire, and it's worth something to the Carcharodons and their giant jellyfish with their taser tentacles TM.
Shock and awe,
Thank you for bleeping yourself.
I'm learning.
A ship that actually had a strategic impact on the battle was the giant squid ships, the Trident-class assault ship. This ship, it sees significantly more use over the course of the Clone Wars. The Trident-class assault ship allows tactical insertion of super battle droids into and around hardpoints that normal droids could not reach. Where most of the droid army marches in rank and file, the Trident allowed the droid to spear their way into targets of strategic importance. These ships were leveraged during the invasion of Kamino, where the clones barely defended their home. It was really down to the wire. RIP 99. The presence The presence of the Tridents nearly routed the clones and allowed Ventress to obtain a sample of Jango Fett's DNA, the progenitor of the clone army. Ventress was ultimately unsuccessful, but it was close. After the fall of the Republic, the Empire used the Trident as well, and its tactical advantages proved useful as the Empire sought to subjugate different water worlds. Essentially, like the Empire's, I don't know, what do you even call it, their debut tour through the galaxy was basically just like redoing all the battles of the Clone Wars, but instead of trying to like actually save the worlds, they're just like press the war crimes button as fast as possible, and they just move from world to world to world, burning it or dissolving and boiling their oceans. So it's great. It's great. Love the Empire. They're awesome.
Always love that the Empire's listening to us all the time. And let's throw back to the Andor episode for a minute. Guys, if you watched the new season of Andor, which we did cover, by the way, on this podcast, and if you thought the Empire were the good guys, well, rethink your life. You want to go home and rethink your life.
Thank you. I was about to say it.
All right. So we're going to talk about the fact that in Tartakovsky's, without reading it, I'm like, oh, that's hard. There it is.
Tartakovsky's.
Genndy Tartakovsky's. The vintage Clone Wars. Acclimators just land in the water. Cool. So, like, in the Legends, Disney hurtfully categorizes the microseries Vintage Star Wars and Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars. During the Battle of Mon Cala, the Republic descends on the planet to help dispute the conflict between the Quarren and Mon Cal.
Good job.
Words are so hard!
Words are very hard.
Feel free to keep me looking like a dingus in as much as you want. I'm pretty sure people are going to love it. Yeah, they do love it, you sick freaks. All right.
Stop. I have to listen to that. Stop.
Pause. The ships literally landed on the surface of Mon Cala and divulged its scuba troopers directly in the oceans.
That was awesome. I vibed with that so hard, so quick. I was like, yeah. Scuba troopers right into the ocean.
Okay, so I can't take myself seriously. During the Clone Wars, it was not uncommon for local civil conflicts to have galactic ramifications on each side of the war. The Confederacy of Independent Systems and the Galactic Republic saw anything from a local bar fight to a planetary civil war as the opportunity to take the planet for themselves. Not unlike countries meddling in the U.S.'s first civil war, many countries providing aid to the North and South sought to help one side to win the internal conflict and thus affect the balance of global politics. Nailed it. Okay, the Republic sought to maintain its vast array of planets and shore up its power, and the Separatists knew that every world they snatched away from the Galactic Senate further undermined the right to rule of the Republic.
The Battle of Mon Cal was one such conflict early in the Clone Wars that had more than just the fate of Admiral Akbar's race or that of the Quarren at stake. The Mon Calamari were master shipbuilders, and their expertise would go on to shape the outcome of the Galactic Civil War as well. The backbone of the Rebellion to Restore the Republic was built on the strength of ships such as Home One, the Profundity, and many MC-80 star cruisers. There's actually a prophecy that an Iktochi Jedi would give over kingly char after the conflict, saying, "A time will come, decades from now, when the ships of the Mon Calamari are at the forefront of a great rebellion. And then, again, decades after that, your people's vessels will be the symbol of freedom and defiance across the galaxy. And it all started here, Your Majesty, with you." That was Farron Barr speaking to King Lee Char during the invasion of Mon Cala. So cool. So cool.
That's pretty freaking tight.
It's a domino effect, a string of cause and effect reactions, starting with the ability of the Acclimator to sit on the surface of water, all the way to the overthrow of the future Empire and the death of Darth Sidious. I'm just saying, it all connects. It's all connected.
If you haven't figured out by now, much of what we grew up with in Legends has found its way into canon one way or another. Disembarking off of the Acclimators were the scuba variant of clone troopers. If you guys don't know, scuba is self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Yeah, nailed it. This underwater kit allowed troopers to operate in dark depths of worlds like Mon Cala, Naboo, or just to preform wet work on planets like with water, which was a lot of them. I mean, Kamino was basically a water planet. Unlike human scuba gear.
It's There's just water.
And some platforms. Unlike human scuba gear, the clone armor variant allowed the defenders of Coruscant allowed the clone troopers to stay underwater for days at a time. These additions to the Phase 1 armor were some of the most extensive amounts of kit that the clones would be equipped with, making aquatic campaigns insanely expensive. Each trooper was equipped with oxygen masks, reserve tanks, and an apparatus that could take the oxygen from the water itself and let them breathe it. This is why they were able to stay under the water for multiple days. This was very important as many clones were taken as POWs and probably were not given refreshes to their scuba gear.
One of the really cool things we don't see make its way back into canon is the CANON, is the crab cannon, CANNON. 2 notes about this absolute chonker of a weapon. Everything Mr. Tartakovsky did in the Clone Wars micro series was so big and so over the top because he only had like 5 minutes at a time to tell a really cool story. And he's like, what if we gave a giant cannon the size of a cruiser crab legs and put it underwater? And people were like, that's amazing. Let's do it.
We were on the same page. I was like, do you want to watch me? I was like, do you want to watch me reenact this really quick? Just wait a second. Oh, there we go. Yeah, crab cannons.
A blood vessel burst in my eye. This thing had a short life in combat, though, as Kit Fistoed fistoed his way through its legs with a force bubble. Also, just a really cool use of the force. Like, we'll put a photo up on screen of like what he did. Is he just took a bubble of air and shot it through something. Like, that's crazy, right?
Oh, yeah, you're like, yeah, the bubble looks really nice. And me, I'm like, wow, he's got like a really good like Atlas pose. Like, look at those traps and triceps. Nice work, buddy.
In the short time that the crab cannon existed, it also managed to one-shot an acclimator sitting on the surface of the water and disperse all of the others. Like, this would be a cataclysmic event. Like, it kind of makes it look like the acclimators are little paper boats sitting on the water. Dude, if something like that happened, it would instant tsunamis all the way around. Unbelievable. It's so cool. Guys, you should really take a watch of these different episodes. Again, we were talking about Clone Wars Season 4, episodes 1 through 3, and we were talking about the Clone Wars microseries, which is found under the Vintage Star Wars category on Disney Plus in the first volume. About 15 minutes in, and you'll see the Battle of Mon Cala.
Honestly, you should watch all of it because it's fantastic. And guys, we don't like to gatekeep any of the stuff we watch. Let us know what your opinions were about any of the creatures, sharks, species, planets that we talked about here today. We love hearing from you guys, and if you guys want to hear from more of us, like on specific stuff, let us know. Our goal here is to make sure that everyone feels welcome, and you can get just a little bit nerdier with us every single time you join in. Big thanks to our patrons, Mike, Isaac, and David. Guys, we are running the Lightsaber giveaway right now, which means if you join our Patreon community, you get entered in to win a lightsaber. You may have just noticed I only listed off 3 names. Looking at you.
The odds are in those people's favor. A
never tell me the odds.
Chance.
Yeah, never tell me the odds. If you add yourself in, it's 25. So get in. Every month you are a member of our Patreon up until August is going to give you essentially a ticket to enter. Now, you can get a ticket in July, you can get a ticket in August. We've been doing this for June, July, and August. So some of these guys are only a month ahead of you. They're 1 ticket ahead. Your chances of winning are so good. People buy lottery tickets, for heaven's sakes, with like a 1 in a million chance. Your chances right now are like 1 in 7. Get the lightsaber. It's super cool.
Get the lightsaber.
Guys, seriously, we do appreciate it. For just $5 a month, you guys can support us here at Talk About Tatooine, so we can do these awesome things like the lightsaber giveaway, gaming events, and other high-quality content. Guys, we're usually streaming as well. We're not for a while because I'm in school and I'm dying on the inside. It's great. Please support us with money. If you guys can't, though, like, we totally get it. Like, make sure you guys like and subscribe, leave comments, interact with our stuff on social media. That does help. We need 10,000 followers, by the way, on TikTok to be able to be eligible for the Creator Fund. Go follow us over there. Go follow us over on YouTube. We need like 4,000 subscribers over there to hit the mark there. We're really close to 1,000 right now. It's super cool. I don't know where all of our Instagram followers are. You guys are the best. There's like 2,000 of you now, so that's cool. But seriously, guys, just to go support us, share us with a friend. If you have a friend that likes nerdy, let us know. We would love them too. Guys, seriously, we're happy to have every single one of you. Andrew's happy that I redid that sentence so he doesn't have to edit it out as he shines a laser in his own eye. Wow. And yeah, you guys are all the greatest. May the Force be with you, and happy Star Wars Shark Week, folks.